This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. We all have goals. There's things we want to achieve, whether it's personally, professionally, and some of those things aren't taking place. Why is that? Why do you get stuck? You see the vision, but for some reason, it doesn't materialize or you don't get to the next step. We stop in our tracks. What's going on there? We're going to talk about that today. She is an amazing leadership coach at Ripple Effect Consulting, and great to have her back. So much insight we get every time we have her on the program as our professional of the year. River Easter is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great today. It's a beautiful day and I'm here and I'm really thank you so much for having me on and actually for all the different programs that you have on, all the experts. It's a great place.
I
Uh,
appreciate that. And I appreciate you, people like you that bring this insight to help us figure this thing out. You know, they call it life. Um, and this is part of the key steps that you offer to help move somebody's life forward. And if it hasn't happened, it will, where you get to a point where you get stuck and you don't know why. And I can relate. I got a couple of side projects I'm working on here that have come to a little bit of a halt, if you will. And I also rely on others. I'm working with others on these, and I need to, kind of peel back some layers, lift up the hood a little bit, figure out what's going on. I will share this with you in that situation, one of them, that I and my partner on this project believe that we've hit a couple of, I don't call them roadblocks, but things didn't move forward in a certain direction. And we believe that's not the right direction. It's almost like the universe is saying, guys, look over here. You might want to turn the car and go in this direction. Um, would that enter your mind with everything that you've learned, everything that you teach?
that's a really good question. Is it actually a roadblock that is it's a signal to actually move in the other direction,
Hmm.
or is it not? Is it what I call obstacles aren't stop signs? They're actually signals that you're on the right path. And again, there's some of you who are going to be on this call. You're going to hear things, and you're going to get a lot out of what I'm going to say today. And there's other of you who really are ready. You are ready. You're ready to make some change, and this is for you. And
Hmm.
so I will share where you can get more information, go deeper, and get that thing done that you really want. And you want it in your life. You've wanted it for a while, and it's costing you. Most people don't realize
Hmm.
what it's costing them to tolerate this where they are.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. There's a cost in, I think, everything. It's not just about money. It could be a cost of you're giving up your independence. You may be um, costing you sleep, trying to worry about whether you can make something happen. So much involved. Now you've talked before about something called inspired action. What exactly is that?
Yeah, and before I get to the inspired action, is that I really want people to take an assessment. Where in their life are they really tolerating that they've really wanted to make a change and they haven't been able to do it?
Hmm.
Or you're thinking it's just not possible. Like I talked to one person and she was like, "Oh, you can't make money doing what you love." And that's because and she ended up coaching with me and she said, "You've completely changed my life." Because just imagine that when you're not living the life that you were meant to and you're settling, there is so much regret in
Mm.
there.
There's
And
another cost, by the way.
yeah, regret and bitterness. You become a bitter person when you think that you can't have what you want.
Mm.
And so I really, people need to get in touch with that and actually flip the risk. So instead of the risk being, oh my God, what if I fail, which we've talked about in another one, is instead say, what if I don't try? How am I going to feel about myself? You see people that are living lives that they love. They're alive. They are on fire. And then there's a cost to your body when you are shrinking and holding back.
Mm.
So I can't tell you there's a cost, there's stress involved. And there is all kinds of things. We're going to talk about stress, but let's get to inspired action.
Sure.
Okay, so one is that if you have a vision, like say for example, we'll just of one of my clients, they had a vision, and their vision was for um, uh, they had a vision of building out this business that they had. And or for you, you have a vision of whatever this project is,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And the first thing that you get is ideas. And so I'm going to share a story. There's this fisherman, and he goes out to go fishing, and he's not having very much luck. And he looks upstream and he sees this guy, and he's getting all kinds of fish. And but he gets the fish out, and for some reason he throws it back in. He's like thinking, what's going on? Or fish, can you only have a certain size, and anything bigger than that you have to throw out? So he ends up going down to talk to the guy and this other fisherman and says, is there a rule here that I don't know about the size of fish? Because I see that you're throwing a lot of big fish back. And the guy says, well, no, that's not it at all. You see, I'm measuring again. He holds up this sort of broken wooden ruler. And he says, no, this is the size of my frying pan, and anything bigger than that, I'm throwing back. you know.
Wow.
True. And I know it's kind of a dumb joke and we laugh about it, but that's what we're doing about ideas that come to us. And ideas are the first currency of the universe. If we think it's not in our mental frying pan, then we're like, oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do
Wow.
that.
Hmm. That said, should we be shooting bigger? And there's where am I going with that? I have a post-it note here, and it says, "Show me how good it gets."
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Why not? You know, on I don't know, we talked about this on the vision board. I think maybe we did, two words, or better.
Uh-huh.
Or so give me that fish of a certain size or better. Now, granted, it might not fit in the frying pan I have. I'll get a bigger pan. It's worth it at that point.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
And I love that. And, when you have one of the things about having a highly calibrated vision, and when I help you create that vision, is that we always say at the end, this or something even better.
Say that again. The what is something better?
This, this or something even better.
Sure. Yeah. Why not
Yeah,
shoot for the
because
moon?
we have things in our mind. We only have a very small perception of what could happen, but I can't tell you how many times people have come to me and said, you would not believe what happened. And there's just no way that they could have actually orchestrated all of these things. Like, for example, one of my clients, she'd been working to have social and emotional learning. She's an expert, she has a PhD into school systems. And it wasn't happening. Well, she ends up going to a conference and was a keynote speaker, and she gave a raffle, and one of the people who raffled, who purchased it or won the raffle to this activity that she had, ends up, she goes to talk to somebody else at her hometown, right? So in other words, she did this conference far away, comes back, she's walking into the office of this person, and the other person shows up. Same office. You couldn't in a million years organize that, but you're working with the universe, which can organize anything. And so that has been an amazing connection that she's made, and they're implementing into a school, actually two school districts, because she was the head of two school districts, the person who actually won the raffle.
What do you think was going on there? How did that even happen? Some might say, well, coincidence. I don't believe there are any. Um,
No,
what
it's
what are the chances?
Well, and this is really important, and I love this inspired ideas. She had an inspired idea, and it took a while for actually the fruition of it, right? The culmination of it. But she had an inspired idea that she wanted to do this. Well, one, she wanted to speak at this one conference.
Hmm.
Her other idea was that she got was like, I want to do this one activity called Flags of Kindness. She just thought that would be a wonderful activity for ch after school program. Anyway, that, or for all, for everybody. So she's implemented this, so it's all these different things and connections, but she is following. Remember, we talked about your longings and your discontents. You follow those, you get those inspired ideas. She got an inspired idea, and she went with it. There is,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, that is leading her. And then you're using, I mean, really, I feel like we're living in an expanding universe, and our universe is expanding through our ideas. And so each person, their dreams are helping to expand the universe. And you just see this everywhere. The innovations that have happened. Look at the Wright brothers. If they didn't have an idea that they could fly, right? That made that possible. Edison, had this idea. He worked at it. He
Hmm.
like 10,000, things. Oprah Winfrey, Starbucks. I think the Schultz was rejected 242 times for
Wow.
a loan for his Starbucks coffee shop. 242 times he was rejected.
So I want to mention Tesla too. I've been studying this man. In fact, over the weekend, I saw a movie called The Prestige, came out in like '06. I watched it because Tesla's in it, played by David Bowie. Whoa. I didn't even know that was David Bowie. It was like wild. But Tesla manifested everything. Manifested everything. I guess call it inspired action. And these things came to play. Even when you mentioned Edison, they were rivals. They were partners at some point, and there's word that Edison took a lot of his ideas and ran with it and became famous, et cetera, et cetera. But Tesla believed these things could happen, and they did. He was obsessed with manifesting, and it
Mhm,
had a formula. Everything had to be divisible by three. So
mhm.
there's a 3-6-9 principle with all of that. But he made it happen.
Yeah, he was very brilliant, very brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. How
So,
would you broadly define what inspired action is?
Okay, that really good question. So an inspired action is when you get an idea that is exciting for you, and usually it's outside of your comfort zone,
Hmm. Oh,
you know. And so it's exciting. There you have energy, right? When you get that idea. I'm sure you've had an inspired idea. You're like, "Oh, what if I do this?" You just look back on your life and the areas of your life where you had an idea. I had an idea, and the idea that probably saved my life and put me on this path was when I was 17 and I was smoking a cigarette out in the parking lot of my high school. And I saw these 21-year-olds coming into the parking lot to sell drugs. And I thought, they could be anywhere. They're free. They don't have to go to school. What are they doing here? And then I thought, what what would I love to be doing in my life? And that changed because I that was the first time I didn't, was only thinking about surviving my situation where I actually thought about the future and what would I love to be doing.
hmm. And what came to mind?
Well, I ended up wanting to be an architect. That was my my first thing. And really working with solar energy. That was exciting for me. And
Oh,
so I did all kinds of different classes at community colleges. And I actually ended up drafting a home years ago that's built.
oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well,
Yeah,
well, guess what? You went from building architecture to life architecture. You're helping people
exactly.
build lives,
Exactly.
you know?
There's a few stages in between, but asking those questions about what would I really love here? That's a very high vibrational question to ask. And instead of how am I going to survive? Or, oh my God, how am I going to get to the end of the month with the check or the money that I have? That is what I call fear-based. So we're living in default versus design. Because most of us, when we're making decisions and we're looking at our mental frying pan, is we think, oh, I can't do that. And we throw out the ideas. So I had this one young woman come to me and she's like, she was at the end of her, she just felt like she'd painted herself into a corner. Like she thought about all these different things that she wanted to do. And then she'd be like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, or I can't do that. Or how is that going to work? I don't have the money, or I don't have the know-how. And so she ended up with a lot of really good ideas in the trash can.
Wow. And there are many that believe in manifestation, back to that for a moment, and say, don't even worry about that stuff. Think of the end goal and work your way back. Don't worry how you're going to get to it. Just picture it, make it happen. It will
Yeah,
if you're focused that way.
right. That is really important is that your job is not the how. So, in other words, going back to my client who had this idea, her job wasn't the how of it. She couldn't have orchestrated all those different connections that happened. But her job was focusing on what she would love, what she was committed to, her vision, which was for empowering children and teachers through education and social emotional learning. That was her, passion and is her passion. And and it so that's really important to focus on and not and each taking the next step. You may not know the whole plan is and that's what we've been taught is like we're supposed to have this clear plan of action
Hmm.
before we even embark. But one of the things that Price Pritchard says is that planning is where all good ideas go to die. And he's a management consultant, very successful.
Wow.
Yeah, planning is where all good ideas go to die.
I need a moment on that. I just got to process that for just a moment because it goes back to what we just said. Don't worry about the how, just, but also I'm getting a vision of the vision, the end result. It seems like you really have to have a clear idea of what you want or the direction you want it to go in. It's got to be clear. I think sometimes we're a little muddy because we're stuck. One foot is stuck in the how, and then we change what the vision is to adapt to that, and you're going back and forth instead of saying, "This is what it's going to be. Let it
Uh,
be."
right. And so I always like to say that you need a destination point. So if you're thinking about a GPS, if you say, I want to go to Europe, I want to travel, I love travel, you can't do it on that. You have to get more clear about where it is that you want to go.
Yep.
I would love to go to Italy. That was like a dream that I had. I don't know where it came from. I don't have any relatives from Italy, but I wanted to go to Italy.
And maybe even get specific. I want to go to
Yeah.
Rome. I want to go to Venice. I want to see this. Be specific as opposed to, well, it'd be nice to go to Italy. No, I'm
Yeah,
going.
I had like this vision in my head that I was going to be somewhere where I was on the water in like a coast and there was a deck and I would be drinking my coffee in the morning and having a glass of wine at night and it
Well,
would be overlooking this beautiful scene. That was my vision.
I see your vision, by the way, as you said that. I'm picturing it. I really am.
Yeah, it was in my head. Well, what came about was that there was an invitation of a group going to Italy to this one particular place. And I was like, ooh, I want to go. And then out of me going, I did these other excursions by myself and ended up sitting out on that deck going, oh my God, this is my vision. It just came true. So having these specific ideas in your head or pictures is really important because why don't we do the things that we want to do, right? What happens? Well, what happens is fear comes up.
Mm.
We either distract ourselves, like one of my clients, she wanted to build out this business, but every time she thought about following up with people or calling potential people, and she got really anxious, and thought, oh gosh, in her head, because remember the results formula is your thinking causes your results. Thinking causes feelings, which cause actions, right? And if we're thinking anxious thoughts, that I don't want to feel salesy, they're not going to want to talk to me, then you're not going to make the call. So she distracted herself.
Mm.
And of course, she had zero results because she wasn't making phone calls, which you have to
Well,
make phone calls when you're in business.
I'm just seeing something else here become very clear. We're just about out of time.
Okay.
That the planning is fear-based.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way. I'm, I like to make sure things are in order. So my first thought was, well, yeah, you could plan. That's what you should be doing. But no, why are we planning? Because we don't have faith in it materializing as it should. We've got to start planning for that because there's fear involved in that. And I never thought of it that way. It's an
Mhm.
interesting way to
Yeah.
look at it.
And there are most of us are in the a fear-based neural pathway.
Yeah.
And so and it's a habit. and we've overused it. So there's these saboteurs, the avoider saboteur, the pleaser, or the hyperachiever, the controller. They come in and they also work with the judge, which is your master saboteur, and they keep us feeling anxious or frustrated or any sort of negative emotion. We know that we're in our saboteur pathway, and we need to take command of our brain and our thinking so that we move into the region of your brain that has all your creativity, your passion, your wisdom. And that's where you're calm, you're focused, you're having fun instead of feeling anxiety, and you get those inspired ideas and you move forward on them.
It's almost as if when you start everything you just mentioned, it's like we've been kidnapped. You have a great idea, ready to go. This is going to happen. All of a sudden, this band of thieves come blasting through the door in your mind, and they just take you, they chain you up, and now you're like, I can't make this happen. That dream I had because I got kidnapped and they pulled me and they took me away. And
That is so good. It's called, they usually call it hijacked, your brain gets hijacked, but I love the whole kidnap thing too. And that is why I offer for those of you who want to go deeper and you're ready to like make some moves, then I have a free saboteur discovery session. And so you can go to my link tree. So I don't know if people know link tree, but it's link.tre and you back or / River Easter. And that'll take you there and you can schedule from there.
very cool. A lot of this came clear, and I'm fixated on the how the planning is part of your fear. I never looked at it that way. I looked at it more as productivity, but that's the wrong way to look at it.
Exactly. It's busy work.
It's yes, you're right because you think you're being proactive to attain the goal, but all you're doing is you're putting things in your path.
Yeah, no, it's totally busy work
Yeah.
versus really doing the work that's going to move the needle.
Always great talking with you. A lot of epiphanies come up, and you make it easy to understand. The link tree, once again, can you share that? Just want to make sure we have it.
Yeah, so it's Linktree, which is link.tre. I think it's either TREE or TRE and / River Easter.
Gotcha. And River Easter spelled exactly how it sounds.
Yeah, exactly how it sounds.
Thanks for being here today. Looking forward next time we get together.
All right. Thank you so much. And I just want to share, you matter, your dreams matter, and your dreams will change the world.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.